English Academy podcast, the place where we help you take your English from the textbook to the real world. I'm Adam.
And I'm Anna. We are so thrilled to have you joining us today. If you are tuning in right now, chances are you want to sound more natural, more confident, and ultimately more fluent.
Exactly. And today we're tackling one of the single biggest roadblocks every language learner faces. We're going to teach you exactly how to train your brain to think in English. No more translating from your native language in your head. No more awkward pauses while you frantically search for the right word.
It is going to be a total game changer for your fluency. We are breaking down practical, everyday habits you can start using right now to permanently flip that English switch in your mind. But before we dive into today's secrets,
we have a quick favor to ask. If you enjoy our podcast and want to support the channel, please make sure to hit that subscribe button.
yes, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave us a comment down below letting us know where you're listening from, and share this episode with a friend who is also trying to master their English.
All right, let's stop wasting time and get right to the good stuff. Anna, let's talk about the translation trap.
You know, Adam, I was talking to a student yesterday who told me that speaking English feels like running a race while carrying a heavy backpack. That backpack is the translation trap. It's that invisible wall between what you want to say and how you actually say it.
That is a perfect metaphor, Anna. So let's get right into it. The biggest roadblock for English learners is that constant translation going on in their heads. They hear a sentence, translate it to their native language, figure out the answer, and translate it back to English. It's like a three-step process for something that should be instant.
Exactly, Adam. It is exhausting. By the time you do all that mental gymnastics, the conversation has already moved on. The other person is already talking about something else, and you're still stuck processing the first sentence. You end up feeling frustrated, slow, and stuck. We need to stop translating and start feeling the language.
Right, but how do you actually turn that translation switch off? It sounds easy, but it's a hard habit to break when your brain naturally wants to cling to what's safe. Our brains are designed to find the shortest path to understanding, and for most people, that path goes right through their mother tongue.
It really does. It takes active practice to break that loop. You have to train your brain to link an English word directly to an image or an action, not to a word in your mother tongue. Think about it. When you see a dog, your brain should just say dog, not the translation of it. If you see a perro or a chin or a cane in your head first, you've already lost the battle for speed.
I see what you mean. It's about building a direct wire in the brain. But I think a lot of learners are afraid. They think, if I don't translate, how do I know I'm saying it right? There's a fear that if they don't check the master file of their own language, they'll make a huge mistake.
That fear is exactly what keeps the trap shut. We have to realize that English is its own ecosystem. Some words don't even have a perfect translation. When you try to force a translation, you often lose the nuance or the flavor of what's being said. That's why people sometimes sound a bit robotic or formal when they translate directly.
That makes so much sense. It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. You might get it in there eventually, but it's going to be a struggle and it won't look right. So if someone is listening right now and they feel like they're stuck in this translation loop, what is the very first thing they should realize?
They should realize that their brain is actually much faster than they think. The delay isn't a lack of intelligence, it's a lack of a direct connection. You aren't bad at English, you're just using a very long, windy road to get to your destination. We want to build a high-speed highway instead.
A high-speed highway. I love that. And to build that highway, we have to stop looking back at our starting point, our native language, and start looking forward into the English landscape. It's about immersion, even if you aren't living in an English-speaking country.
Precisely. It's a mental shift. You have to give yourself permission to be wrong or slow for a little while as you build those new connections. If you keep using the translation crutch, you'll never learn to walk on your own in English.
It's about trust. Trusting that the English words you know are enough to get the point across. So if you're listening to this, next time you see an object, a coffee cup, a car, a tree, don't let your native language claim it. Claim it in English first.
So we've identified the translation trap, but how do we actually start building that high-speed highway we mentioned? It's not about overnight mastery. It's about starting with the things you touch, see, and use every single day.
That brings us perfectly to the first actionable step, starting small. You can't just wake up one day and think deeply about philosophy or complex politics in a second language. Your brain would just short circuit. You have to crawl before you can run.
Absolutely not. If you try to do too much at once, you'll just get overwhelmed and go back to your native language because it's easier. You start with your immediate surroundings. I always tell my students to literally label their house. Turn your home into a giant English classroom. Look at your desk, your kitchen, your living room. Everything has a name.
Oh, you mean the classic sticky note trick. I've seen people do that when they move to a new country. They have neon yellow notes on the fridge, the door, and the microwave.
Yes, exactly that. Put a sticky note on the mirror that says mirror. Put one on the wardrobe that says wardrobe. It sounds simple, maybe even a bit childish, but it is incredibly powerful. Every time you brush your teeth, you see that word. You aren't studying it, you are experiencing it.
It's about passive learning, right? You aren't sitting down with a textbook for an hour. You're just living your life, and the English words are just there. They become part of your environment.
Precisely. But even without physical notes, if you don't want your house covered in paper, just make it a mental habit. When you're making breakfast, look at the items and name them in your head. Egg, pan, coffee. Don't try to build full, complex sentences yet. Don't worry about grammar or tenses. Just lock down the nouns and the basic vocabulary of your daily life.
That builds such a solid foundation. You're essentially building an English map of your physical world. When you reach for a spoon, your brain should fire the word spoon before it even thinks of the word in your native language.
That's the goal. Think about how a child learns. They don't learn grammar rules first. They point at a ball and say ball. They point at juice and say juice. By labeling your world, you are reparenting your brain in English. You are creating a direct mental link between the object and the English sound.
I love that idea of reparenting the brain. It takes the pressure off. And it's not just about objects, right? Could you do this with actions too? Like when you're opening a window or sitting down?
Absolutely. As you get comfortable with the nouns, you can add simple verbs. Open, close, sit, eat. But keep it 100% focused on your immediate reality. If you can see it or touch it, name it in English.
It's like you're creating an English-only zone in your own house. Even if the rest of your life is in another language, your kitchen can be an English kitchen. Your bedroom can be an English bedroom.
And that consistency is key. If you do this for just 5 minutes every morning while you get ready, you are telling your brain that English isn't just a subject you study, it's a tool you use to navigate your world.
It's the difference between knowing English and owning English. When you label your world, you start to own the space around you in that language.
Exactly, Adam. Once those single words become automatic and you stop seeing the translation in your head, you're ready for the next level. But for now, just start with the coffee mug in your hand.
Okay, so we've labeled our physical world. We've got the nouns down. But a language isn't just a list of objects. It's alive. It's about movement and thought. How do we take those labels and actually turn them into a flow of speech?
That is the big question. Once you have the vocabulary, the next step is connecting those words with actions. This is where your internal monologue comes in. You know that little voice in your head that talks to you all day? That voice that reminds you to buy milk or tells you that you're running late?
Oh yeah, mine never shuts up. It's like a 24/7 radio station playing inside my skull. Sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's just overanalyzing what I had for lunch.
Exactly. We all have it. So the trick is to hijack that radio station. Force that voice to speak English. Instead of thinking in your native language about what you're doing, start narrating your life like you're the main character in a movie. When you are doing chores, narrate what you are doing. Think to yourself, I am washing the dishes. Now I am drying the cup. I need to put it in the cupboard.
It feels a bit silly at first, doesn't it? Playing a sports commentator for your own life. He's picking up the sponge. He's scrubbing the plate. It's a clean sweep. But honestly, it's brilliant because there's no pressure. Nobody's listening, so you can't be embarrassed if you make a mistake or forget a word.
Precisely. It builds fluency in a zero-stress environment. Think about why people freeze up in real conversations. It's the fear of judgment. But when you're just talking to yourself inside your own head, that fear vanishes. You're teaching your brain to naturally form sentences about real-life situations on the fly without the audience anxiety.
I think that's the secret sauce right there. When you're narrating, you're practicing grammar without studying grammar. When you say, I am walking to the door, you're practicing the present continuous tense in a way that actually means something to your brain because you are literally doing it at that moment.
Right. It bridges the gap between theory and reality. If you only study I am walking from a book, it stays in the book. If you say it while your feet are moving, your brain creates a physical and neurological link. It's like muscle memory for your mind.
And it helps you find the gaps in your knowledge, too. If I'm narrating my morning and I realize I don't know the word for shoelaces, I've just found a very specific, useful thing I need to learn. It's much better than memorizing random word lists that you might never use.
That's a great point, Adam. It makes your learning personalized. Your inner voice will naturally want to talk about the things that matter to you. If you're a cook, you'll learn cooking verbs. If you're a gamer, you'll learn tech words. You become the author of your own English curriculum.
So, for everyone listening, today is the day your inner voice goes to English school. Don't worry if it's slow at first. Even if you just manage 1 or 2 sentences an hour, you're training your brain that English isn't a foreign visitor. It's a permanent resident.
I love that, a permanent resident. And the more you let that resident speak, the quieter the translator becomes. Pretty soon you'll find yourself thinking, I'm tired, instead of translating it from your own language. And that, my friends, is when the real magic happens.
Okay, so we've covered the internal side of things, labeling your physical world and narrating your actions with that inner voice. But to really train the brain to switch over permanently, you need high-quality input, not just output. You have to immerse yourself. You can't expect your brain to think in English if it only hears English for 20 minutes a day during a study session.
Exactly. You need what I like to call the English bubble. This is my favorite part because it's about lifestyle, not just studying. To truly think in a language, you have to live in it. Even if you're thousands of miles away from London or New York, you have to change your daily inputs to English so that your brain starts to see it as your primary source of information.
I love that term, the English bubble. It's like creating a protective layer around your mind where only English can enter. And honestly, the easiest first step is something most people are afraid to do, but it's so effective. Change the language settings on your phone and your social media accounts.
That is a total game changer, Adam. Think about it. How many times a day do you check your phone? 50? 100? Maybe more? If all the menus, prompts, settings, notifications, and share buttons are in English, your brain adapts very quickly because it relies on muscle memory. You already know where the buttons are, so your brain starts associating the English word with the action automatically.
It really forces you to pay attention. At first, you might hesitate when looking for the airplane mode or battery settings, but after 3 days, you don't even think about it anymore. You've just successfully deleted the translation step for an object you use more than anything else in your life. It turns a distraction into a learning tool.
And it goes way beyond phones. To keep the bubble strong, you need to flood your ears and eyes. Listen to English music while you work. Watch movies without subtitles, or at least with English subtitles if you're still practicing. And of course, listen to podcasts, just like ours. The goal is to surround yourself so much that your brain has no choice but to start processing information in English automatically.
It's about creating a need for the language. If your brain realizes that all your entertainment, all your news, and all your technology are in English, it stops treating English like a hobby and starts treating it like a survival skill. It realizes, hey, I need to understand this to function.
Right. And don't be afraid if you don't understand 100% of what you hear at first. That's actually part of the process. When you're in the bubble, you're training your brain to get comfortable with the sounds and the rhythm of the language. Even if you're just listening to an English news station in the background while you cook, your subconscious is soaking up the sentence structures.
I've noticed that with my own language learning. After a few hours of immersion, I start to hear the words more clearly. The noise starts to turn into meaning. It's like your brain is tuning a radio until the signal is crystal clear.
Precisely. And once you have that signal, you'll find that the words start popping into your head without effort. You'll be scrolling through Instagram and read a caption in English, and you won't even realize you didn't translate it. You just understood it. That is the power of the bubble.
It's all about consistency. You can't just step into the bubble once a week. You have to live there. Make English the default language of your life, and your brain will have no choice but to follow your lead.
We have talked about the labels, the inner voice, and the bubble, but now we get to the most exciting part. This is the moment where all that hard work starts to pay off in ways you didn't even expect. It's the moment English stops being a task and starts being a part of who you are.
Now, let's talk about the ultimate sign that it's working: spontaneous reactions. This is when the language stops coming from your study brain and starts coming from your survival brain. It's that split-second moment where you don't have time to think, so your brain just grabs the most available tool.
Oh, yes. I love seeing this happen with my students. It's like when you stub your toe on the corner of the bed and you yell, ouch, or oh no, instead of the equivalent word in your native language. That is a huge milestone, Adam. It sounds like a small thing, but it means the English language has successfully bypassed your conscious filter. It has moved into your reflexes.
It's such a cool feeling. It's like your brain has finally accepted English as a real language for real life. Or another big one, and this is the one everyone asks about, is when you finally have a dream in English. You wake up and realize, wait, I was arguing with a waiter in London in my sleep, and I understood everything.
Exactly. When you dream in English, it means your subconscious mind is processing your life through that lens. But we have to be honest here. It's not always easy. People often get discouraged. They try to think in English, they're doing great for a minute, and then boom, they hit a wall. They suddenly go blank and can't remember the simplest word. What's your advice for those moments of deep frustration?
I've been there. You feel like you've forgotten everything you've ever learned. But my advice is, let it go. Don't let that one missing word stop your entire train of thought. If you can't think of the specific word, describe it using other English words. This is a skill called circumlocution, and it's what fluent speakers do all the time.
I love that. If you want to say microwave, but your brain just offers a blank space, don't switch back to your native language. Just think the machine that makes food hot, or the box in the kitchen that beeps. Keep the momentum going. Don't stop the flow just to go looking for a dictionary. Perfection isn't the goal here. Flow is.
Flow over perfection. That is the perfect mindset to have. I think so many learners are held back because they want to be 100% correct before they even open their mouths, or even before they open their minds. But thinking in English is messy. It's supposed to be. You're building new neural pathways, and that takes effort.
It really does. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Every single minute you spend narrating your day, every time you look at your labeled fridge, and every time you choose to describe a word instead of translating it, you are one step closer to true fluency. You are literally rewiring your brain for success.
And the best part is, once you start thinking in English, speaking becomes so much easier. You're no longer building a bridge while you're trying to cross it. The bridge is already there. You just have to walk across.
Well said, Adam. So to everyone listening, be patient with yourself. Celebrate those small wins, the ouches, the dreams, the moments you forgot you were even speaking another language. That's where the growth happens.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode. We really hope these strategies help you break out of the translation trap and start living your life in English. Remember, it's all about those small daily habits that add up to big results.
Exactly, Adam. Don't wait for someday to be fluent. Start labeling your world and talking to yourself today. If you found these tips helpful, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an episode of the English Academy podcast.
We'd also love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell us, what is the first object in your house you're going to label today? Or better yet, have you ever had a dream in English? Let's start a conversation down there.
And if you know someone who is struggling with their fluency, please share this video with them. Giving it a like also helps more learners find us, and we truly appreciate your support in growing this community.
Keep practicing, keep thinking, and most importantly, keep being patient with yourself. You're doing better than you think.
Until next time, I'm Anna.
And I'm Adam. Happy learning, and we'll see you in the next one.